All right, guys, this is getting absolutely insane, and this cannot be a coincidence. There's just no way that this can keep happening over and over and over and it just be a coincidence. They can't just write this off. And the things that they are saying and the things that they are warning, coming all the way from the president and also the head of the UN as well. They're both coming out and warning of this at the same exact summit. At the same time, they're both saying this, and this is not a coincidence. This is not a gaffe, and this is happening in real time, and they are warning us, and this is part of the tactic. This is part of the consent of it all. Is they have to tell us what's happening. They have to tell us what's going on. And it's up to you to say, no, we do not want this plan to be implemented, and we do not want this action. All right, so they keep doing it. They just did it again. All right, Biden and the head of the UN at this UN summit, they both just came out separately and said devastating things that confirm what we thought was happening. All right, we know that there's this plan implementing to change everything, to change our world as we know it. We know that this plan is being put in place, and they are now slowly telling us, and they keep coming out and admitting that this is happening. So we need to be getting ready. You need to be getting prepared. You need to be getting your family prepared. All right, the place where I'm staying at, I live in my RV full time with my family. All right, and the place where we're staying, the area where we're staying, the town was out of power. This whole region was completely out of power. Multiple counties, tens of thousands of people were completely out of power. And I noticed because we went to the gas station and there was no, you couldn't pump your gas. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to a different gas station to fill up my gas tanks. And that one was out of gas too. All right, they didn't have any power. They couldn't run their pumps. This stuff can happen at any moment. These emergencies can happen at any moment. And they are also warning us that they are accelerating. All right, that's the word. Biden even came out and said they're going to accelerate this, and things are going to get a lot worse. All right, so you need to be getting prepared. And this can happen anytime, anywhere. The power was out in this region for a while, right? You can even pump gas if you need gas for your generator. That's why it's so critical to be stocked up, be prepared, have gas in your tanks, have gas in your generator, be running it, be testing it, have water in your water tanks. All this stuff is critical because we are getting closer to something very big. All right, very big. And I have a feeling that they know that something big is happening, and they are trying to amplify it. All the things that they are doing are pointing to amplifying this and accelerating it and potentially making it even more devastating. All right, so let's get into what's going on here. They keep warning us. They keep warning us, and we need to take these warnings serious. When they come out, these top officials, the head of the UN, the president of the US, all right, the top leader in our US, that's just how it is right now. He's coming out and saying that. He's saying these warnings, and we need to be getting prepared for this, all right? So let's dive into what the head of the UN is saying first, and then we will get into what Biden is saying too, because they're going together. These things are correlating, and this is not a coincidence what they're saying. They keep coming out and they keep slipping up, and it's not an accident, and it's not a coincidence. All right, so we have the head of the UN, and then we'll get to Biden's quote next as well. All right, we have the head of the UN coming out and giving this devastating warning, and just the words that they are using are very telling. All right, they're telling us what they're doing and coordinating this with what Biden warned of too. This just, it makes sense. It makes sense that this is what they're doing, and we know that this is what they're doing. They're unleashing this dystopian technology on us. All right, all this stuff is being unleashed at once, and we need to be getting ready. There's big things going on in the background that they know about, and we need to be getting ready for it. They're signaling what they're doing, all right? And they're getting ready for it too, and we need to be getting ready for it too. But this is what the head of the UN was warning of. So Biden and the head of the UN, they had this UN global summit, and Biden came out at this summit, and the head of the UN as well, in 2 separate speeches, and gave these devastating warnings. All right, so let's get into what the head of the UN said. He said, quote, "Humanity has opened the gates of hell." That's a full quote. Quote, "Humanity has opened the gates of hell." That's what the head of the UN just warned of. All right. He said, we've opened the gates of hell. Humanity has opened the gates of hell. And that's what they're unleashing, and coordinating this with what Biden just said. This makes sense. All right. They are unleashing this onto humanity, and we need to be getting ready. We need to be getting prepared. Why would he say this? Let's get into what Biden is also warning of as well, because this goes hand in hand with it. All right. We have Biden coming out and saying that at the UN, he said they are going to work together with China. The US and China are going to work together to accelerate this, quote, climate crisis. That's what Biden said at the UN, and it's documented. And he corrected himself. He said, "Oh, we're going to accelerate our efforts to combat it." But he originally says that, and he said he's going to work with China to accelerate the climate crisis. That's exactly what Biden said. And we know that he keeps giving these warnings. This is not a coincidence. He keeps coming out and telling us what their plan is, and we need to take it serious, and we need to be looking at what they are doing, because these programs are all out in the open. These programs are completely real, okay? And the White House even makes whole reports on it, on solar radiation modification. I just made a video on that recently, how they had to release a whole report mandated by Congress on this, okay? They are admitting that they are manipulating the weather. They are manipulating weather events, and Biden keeps coming out with these Freudian slips. You could say they're Freudian slips. He corrected himself after, but there's a reason he keeps coming out and saying that we are making this worse. We are accelerating this, and we are going to use this as an excuse to take your rights away, take your property away. Think of all the people's homes that keep being destroyed by these massive events, and then their property gets taken away. We had the head of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, just a few months ago. He said that the government should coordinate with the banks to operate eminent domain so they could set up these, quote, green projects, so they could set up solar panels on certain people's properties, set up wind farms wherever they want. And they're saying that the government should work with these banks because they're trying to give loans to these companies, and they want to seize this land, seize your land to do these crony businesses, all right, to do these crony side deals, these insider deals that they have. All right, so this stuff's happening right now. These agendas are being put in place, and it's not a coincidence that they keep saying that this is going to happen. Why would the head of the UN say humanity has opened the gates of hell, and then at the same conference, Biden comes out and says, we are accelerating this crisis with China? To have these two things happening at the same meeting is not a coincidence, and they are warning us, and they are telling us what's going on, and we need to be getting prepared, and we need to be getting ready for it. And they know some kind of big event is happening. Some kind of major event is coming very soon, and they are doing everything they can to accelerate it. It seems like, to even make it worse. It seems like that is what the plan is, and we're already going to have these major events happening because it seems like we are entering into this cycle. Okay, if you haven't seen, the North Pole is rushing towards Siberia right now. Right, it is rapidly rushing towards it. It's normally over in Canada, and it is rushing towards Siberia now. All right, if you also haven't seen, there's a major weakening of Earth's magnetic field, and it is also wiping out certain satellites within a certain range of Earth. Okay, when they're in the mid-Atlantic range, satellites keep getting taken out. The Earth's magnetic field is weakening there at a accelerated rate. I'll have to make a whole video on this stuff, but all these big things are going on behind the scenes at the same time that they are geoengineering the weather and making it even worse. And they have all these dystopian technologies that can interact with our Earth, and they mask it. Okay, the best weapons are ones that mimic what's already going on. Okay, invisible weapons like frequency weapons. There are high-powered frequency weapons that can manipulate your brain. Okay, they can manipulate synapses in your brain. Your body is electrochemical, and they can interact with your body electrochemically with these high-power electromagnetic frequencies and trigger certain chemical responses inside your body and inside your brain from a distance, invisibly. All right, so these are all real things. I've made whole videos on that, on brain manipulation weapons and EMF and EMP weapons that can be used on the general public and certain individuals. This can be used on as well, and there's whole patents on it. The military's involved, different countries. China has it, everyone has it, everyone's working on this. That's what they're working on in the future. And just think of that, how they want to manipulate humans, but they are also doing that to the earth. So it is possible that maybe they are even trying to make this pole shift even happen. Okay, things like that are very possible as well. And the sun is also entering a grand solar maximum. There's been a ton of solar flare activity. Okay, the earth has been bombarded. If you are in more northern states, there has been a ton of aurora lately. Okay, so things like that are also going to affect the weather and cause different weather patterns, and also potentially affect the earth's core. Okay, and cause potentially movements under the earth as well. All right, because the earth is a massive magnet. The earth is a massive geomagnet, and it is subject to all these things. And if they are constantly bombarding the earth as well with this electromagnetic frequencies, just think of it, if they can do it to a person, if they can do it to a hurricane. I've documented this whole thing, how they are cloud seeding hurricanes. I've made a whole video on it. And if they can also manipulate it with electromagnetic frequencies, think of what they can do to the earth itself, which is highly magnetic. All right, so this is the future that we are living in, and we are just living in a future where these things are possible. All things are possible. There is some scientists, there's some government black ops program where they are researching this, they are looking into this, and they are trying to figure this out and do this somehow. All right, so we need to be getting ready, we need to be getting prepared, and we also need to be saying no. We need to be saying no to these things, because they keep telling us they're going to accelerate it, they're going to open the gates of hell on humanity. We need to say no. We need to say we do not consent to this, and we do not want this for our future. All right, so please hit it up for me down there to help get this video out to more people, because this is Biden coming out saying we're going to work with China and accelerate this crisis. All right, this is insane that he keeps saying this. He keeps making the same admission. This is not a coincidence. And then at the same UN meeting, the head of the UN said, the gates of hell are being unleashed. We're going to have massive famine. We're going to have massive fires, massive droughts, massive flooding. Farming's going to be destroyed. There's going to be starvation. This is what the head of the UN is saying. And these are our leaders. This is what they are predicting, an apocalyptic future for us. And they are also engineering it at the same time with these programs. These programs are open and admitted, and we know they do this stuff. All right, we know they do this cloud seeding and this geoengineering, and we need to say no to it before it's too late, all right? Before it's your area that gets destroyed, it's your town, it's your home that gets destroyed by one of these events that they are accelerating, quote, accelerating and amplifying, all right? So make sure you are getting prepared. I'm serious, the power was out for like 6 hours, all right, in this region for tens of thousands of people. Power was out for a ton of people, all right? And you couldn't get gas. You probably had to drive. I don't even know where. I just didn't get gas for a while. I just had to come back, and you just can't get gas, right? You got to drive an hour. If you don't have gas in your gas tank, you're screwed, right? So seriously, get a generator, get stocked up, because these events are going to ramp up and they could knock out our power grid. Okay, these auroras are getting deeper and deeper into the country. We're seeing auroras all the way down in places like Arizona. Earlier this year, there was aurora sightings. Okay, it's normally all the way up in Alaska and Canada, all the way down in Arizona, there was aurora sightings. So there's something going on, and they know what's happening, and we need to be getting prepared. There could be a major event like this that knocks out our power grid, that knocks out the communications, knocks out the satellites, and they know, right? And they know that it's going to cause a societal collapse when something big like that really happens, and they know that they are potentially even engineering these things. Okay, HAARP admittedly can make artificial aurora with its radio transmitters. Okay, HAARP can literally convert radio waves bouncing through the ionosphere, convert the gas into it, and ionize it, and create auroras. Okay, this is real. And they're also spraying all these different chemicals into the air, like silver iodide and heavy metals as well, that also help electrify the air and help these things like CMEs, these coronal mass ejections, and these solar flares potentially even travel further through the atmosphere and get to Earth, all right, to leave us even less protected. And HAARP can create these artificially as well with just radio waves. Just radio waves, HAARP can create aurora. So they could create an artificial massive aurora. And by the way, there's a HAARP station in Alaska, and there's also one in New Mexico. There's a HAARP station in New Mexico, right? So maybe that's why the auroras, maybe they were like amplifying it. Maybe that's what they do. They take these natural events that are happening and they amplify it. They cloud seed the hurricanes. They send these radio waves into the aurora to make it more powerful. They send these frequencies into the weather systems to manipulate them and cause tighter formations. All right, all these things are admitted and are happening right now. Okay, they have a HAARP base in New Mexico as well, and they could just say, hey, it was a massive aurora and the grid's out, and that's just how it is. All right, so make sure you are getting prepared. Make sure you have a generator. Make sure you have gas. Make sure you have your tanks filled up, your car tank, your water tank, all that stuff, right? Because even when the power's out, the water doesn't work, all right? The city water, their power is probably out. Okay, if you're on a well, that power's out, you're not going to get water. The water's not going to work either. So have water tanks, or just have a bunch of water jugs filled up, stocked up in your prepper closet, all right, in your prepper pantry, all right? So please hit it up for me down there to get this video out to more people. This is devastating that they keep warning, and this is not a coincidence. They said this stuff on purpose, and people need to hear it, and this stuff needs to get out. All right, so thank you guys so much for all the support. I really appreciate that. I hope you have big blessings in your life and for your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.